Today we are going to talk to Sagar Makwana. Sagar Makwana is an entrepreneur by profession, speaker by passion, and a believer by action. He has been successfully running his automobile component manufacturing business for the last 6 years now. But that doesn't stop him from pursuing his passion to teach, train, and mentor people as and when he can. The only thing that makes him stand out from others is his intuitive insight on life. Joyesh Engineers was established in 2015 with a vision of becoming a reliable vendor to their customers by supplying automobile components engineered with the highest quality and precision. The company was started under the guidance and mentorship of Mr. Ashok Makwana, who brings with him more than 40 years of experience in press tool and die design, machine design, and high volume production of deep drawn components. At Joyesh Engineers, the team believes in supporting their customers in critical development through a dedicated R&D team at their unit. Their three pillars of success are quality, deliverability, and responsiveness, through which they ensure they support their customers in a right way. This is Krishani Poddar. I'm a community manager at Startup Lanes. I'm delighted that you have taken out time for this interview. So can we start with the introduction?
Sure, Krishani. First of all, I would like to thank you and Startup Lanes for giving me this opportunity. See, I'm Sagar Makwana. Okay, I'm basically from Chennai. I was born, brought up in Chennai, but actually I'm a Gujarati. You see, I finished my college way back in 2012, and after which I was working with Tata Motors for about 2 years, right? And then when I came out of Tata Motors, I decided I wanted to get into business, and that's when I started my own firm called Joyesh Engineers. Now I've been running that company for about 6 years now. It's been successfully running, and it's been going well. But I'm also an aspiring coach, trainer, and a mentor. I'm also writing a book now. So these are just things that I do, when I have the time, when I'm not managing my business, So I enjoy those things on the side. I do that, yes.
So what inspired you to join this sector or the company?
You see, Krishani, to answer that question, let me tell you just what this word Joash actually means, yeah. It's quite simple, My mother's name is Jyoti and my father's name is Ashok. So what I did is I just put this Jo, Ash and then combined it, and that's how the name Joash came.
That's
so, getting back to the question, if you ask me what inspired me to get into business, I think it truly is my mother and my father. Because I've seen my father struggle a lot. Okay, he actually came from a very humble background. He was a small tool maker for a very, very small company, and I've seen him taking a lot of effort to be where he was. And naturally, when I quit my job at Tata Motors, I wanted to support him in the best way I could, and I knew that he could help me start up my business. And that's when I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this. And the reason we chose automotive sector was because of the challenges that it gives, right? See, my father and me, both of us have experience in this tool area, so we were able to start well there, and we were able to get that on. And to be very frank, in the initial times, my simple inspiration was three. Okay, number one was to provide financial security for my family. I'm sure every one of us do that, when we start a business. Number two was to help my father retire at the earliest, and number three was my mom always kept complaining, Sagar, your father doesn't spend enough time with me, So I was just wanted to make sure that okay, he gets enough time to spend with her, and it may seem like a rather different inspiration, but then when I was still, maybe I was 24, I was so young, I thought this is what I want to do, yeah. But if you ask me today, I think my inspiration is quite different on why I run a business and what I want to do further.
So then why don't you tell me that what inspires you right now?
I think my business today, it's been going well. It's a 6-year-old company now, and we are at a point of self-sustenance, right? And most of my activities are being handled by a very young and vibrant team. So I want to grow this business so that I can support them, right? Build their own careers. I mean, I don't know. I see them as my mentees, and I expect them to grow. And I want to slowly get out of my business so that they can handle more charge and they can get better at what they want to do. And this is the one reason that in my company I usually take freshers. People generally don't prefer freshers, but for me it's interesting because it's a challenge. Teaching them, mentoring them, getting them the right shape. Because people who have worked for my company have worked on for bigger companies, OEMs and all that. And I'm happy and proud that I'm able to do that. We really believe in nurturing them so that they grow not just as engineers but also as individuals.
So I would like to ask you, what is your life mantra?
That's a interesting question, Krishani. If you really think about it, my mantra is this too shall pass. I mean, I really believe that, the key in living a fulfilled life is in being grateful. Gratitude for the elation in the good times and gratitude for the lessons learned in the bad times. So, you know what, Krishani? Happiness, sadness, positivity, negativity, profits, loss, highs, lows, motivation, desperation, everything will come and go, right? It's the flow that is always going to be there in your life. But I really feel what shouldn't stop flowing is your energy, your effort, and the gratitude for the moment.
So, can you share one habit of yours that makes you more productive?
Sure. See, when it comes to productivity, I really think that there is only one thing that in this whole world, I would say, that can boost your productivity. And I think this applies for everyone. Okay, it's not an advice, but I genuinely feel this is what works, right? If you have the right planning, right? What will happen is that when you plan something and execute it, of course, execution is very important, but when you really, really plan all the way to the end, it's very easy and you can execute it very well. And even if things go wrong, you can solve them. And I hope you've heard about Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of the Highly Successful People, where he says, begin with an end in the mind. So the reason he says that is because he expects us to plan every day, and that's very important. I really believe, Krishani, that planning is the soul of the life called execution. Yeah.
So can you just share one habit of yours that you wish to change?
Well, yeah. So there is one thing that keeps bothering me is that I have a habit of stress eating. I don't know. I think most of the people do today, but for me that's a particularly irritating problem, right? Because when I'm under a lot of stress, which I'm sure today most of us are, I just tend to go out and eat something that is not healthy or something that contains a lot of sugar. But I think that's the one thing that I really wish I could change about myself. I want to get out of that circle of gluttony.
Now we will move ahead to the next session, which is answer in one line. Okay, I'll just give you one line and you have to answer it. Okay, one tip to success:
never underestimate the power of efforts, however small they may seem at the moment. See, I'm going to repeat myself because this is very important, right? Never underestimate the power of your efforts, however small they may seem at the moment. A lot of people, what they do is they tend to not think about what might happen if they take that effort. They think that it's very small and that it's not going to make a big change. But I really feel that that's where the problem is. That's where we should change, right? I think that people usually overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what they can do in a year.
So next is one mistake that you believe every individual must avoid.
See, if there's one mistake I really feel people can avoid, I think it's that, you don't end up spending enough time for doing things you really like. Sometimes I really feel that thing is lost, where people really just spend time for themselves. Today we are all surrounded by so many distractions in our life. There's work, there's family, there's health, there's social circles. Apart from all of this, there's OTT and theaters and I don't know, n number of games, and I don't know, VR is now picking up. There's just so many things to distract us as human beings. I think sometimes we don't even find time to do like the silliest of things, like walking to a grocery store or buying something for yourself that you really like. Having that 1 rupee chocolate. I mean, I don't remember when was the last time I bought a 1 rupee chocolate, I think those are the things that I really miss. Even I do. And I'm telling you, it's something that even I go wrong sometimes. And I really feel that, we should start taking random walks. We should go cycling someday. We should just, go meet up someone, meet up a stranger, talk to them. I think these are small things that I really feel we are missing out on. And I think we should avoid doing these mistakes. Try to live for yourself. Try to do something for yourself every single day. At least for half an hour, I really feel people should do something for themselves, for what they feel happy about and not for others.
So one of the most important lessons that you have learned till now?
So many. I think the biggest lesson for me is, I think I was a people pleaser about 5 years ago. So I've realized that, you should never bend down to societal pressure. I think it's all just a farce. We've just been molded up that way so that we become like thin-minded individuals. I think that is one thing that I've taken with me, and that I've understood that I cannot and should not care about each and every person in this world, and that I can do something for myself.
So apps you cannot live without?
Okay. So I usually, for my productivity, for managing my time, I use an app called any.do. It's a wonderful app. It helps you keep in track about things that you want to do in your life. I also make sure that my expenses are taken care of. I'm having my finances in place by using a wallet app. And I think apart from that, there are the usually, all those social networking apps that I think everyone uses. But I do try to restrict my time with that. Yeah.
Key in the workplace.
I believe this, that as a leader, if you really want your organization to grow, the biggest key for anyone, I'm telling you this, should be that your team and your employees are aligned with your vision. See, a company doesn't run just like that. Okay, you started off with a vision. Like I said, when I talked about my inspiration, earlier my inspiration was different, but today it's different, right? Now my inspiration is very important, and if my team knows what I'm trying to strive towards, and if they're aligned to that, it makes a lot of difference. And I think that is a very important key for everyone.
So if you get a chance to start your career again, what would you be doing differently this time?
As an SME, Krishani, I've started from zero, by the way. The first 2 years, I had losses in my company. Okay. And from whatever I did wrong in those first 2 years, or I wouldn't say wrong, but things that didn't go well in the first 2 years, was the fact that I didn't have a lot of systems in place. There's an entrepreneur's work can go down by so much only and only if they have great systems, effective systems in place. Right? If you look at McDonald's, if you look at KFC, if you look at all these big organizations, they have these amazing systems. They have these systems where every process is very carefully written, talked about, understood about, and the training is given before even an employee starts working there. And that is the secret of their success. No one talks about this, but that systems is very, very important. I really believe we should all implement systems, and more systems.
So can you share a quote that inspires you the most?
Krishna, you're really putting me in a corner here. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many quotes flowing around. Okay, let me just think about one. I think this is one of the most beautiful ones I've ever listened to. I think Rumi said it. The meaning of your life is to find your gift. The purpose of your life is to give it away. I'm going to repeat myself because it's so beautiful. I love saying this again and again. The meaning of your life is to find your gift, and the purpose of your life is to give it away.
What makes you excited about Mondays now?
I don't know. I mean, it may sound cliche, or you might think that I'm a nerd, but I don't believe in this concept called Mondays, right? For me, every day is important, right? Yes, I do different things on different days, right? On a Monday I may work, on Sunday I may not work, but then still, every day I believe is about doing my best. It's about trying to be better than I was yesterday, and that's all that matters. Monday ho ya Sunday, no, not rose ka one day, but rose apne aap ko push karo. That's most important.
So according to you, how important is self-worth and happiness in a job?
A whole life is a job, no, Prashani? But if you talk about self-worth, I think that is one of the most underrated or values that we have today. I see youngsters, they usually have these self-worth issues because they're just seeing larger than life examples, right? And they underestimate what they can do as a person. They don't understand that big things take time, and that it's important that they try to understand what they can do. And for that, I really believe it's important to understand the power of purpose, right? To have a goal, to have a plan, to understand that you may not be there today, just have to keep chugging along. I think when I was a child in the school, there was this one poem that, I don't know if you remember this, there was a poem about a train. I think I can. I think that is really very, very important. Sometimes these very old yesteryear poems, they give you a lot of knowledge, but the point is that I think self-worth is very, very important. And happiness, well, sorry to say, but happiness is something that is a vivid concept for me. I don't believe in happiness. I believe in being fulfilled, right? Feeling fulfilled even if you're going through tough times or smooth. Feeling fulfilled even if you're going through bad times or good. Feeling fulfilled even if you lose or win, right? I think feeling fulfilled is very important.
Can you just tell me some difficult situation, like where your leadership came into work and how you managed people through them.
I'll give you two examples, Krishani. Two things that happened, right? So this was during my first year of business. We had just started off, and you understand, automobile market is a very stringent market. It has very low margins, and it's a volume game. It's not a margin is not very high usually. So there was one particular product that was the first product we made for a customer. We invested close to 8 to 10 lakh rupees way back in 2015, and the product started. It started off well, but what happened in the next 6 months is that the product became obsolete for some reason. Now, whatever investment we had made, we were not able to recover it. But the worst part was that we suddenly didn't have any work, right? So we had to start working on new projects, take new projects from our customers, again invest so much money. But it's a risk we had to take. We couldn't now back out. It was not a solution for us. So for the next 6 months, all I did every day was come to factory, look at new projects, try to work on new projects, and go back home. That is all. There was no work. I had like so many machines idle for 6 months, and I had like 8 employees then, and I had to pay them every day because I wanted them also, because if work came, I had to have them there, right? So I was paying them every month on month for the next 6 months. I think that was one of the biggest challenge. And I think the second challenge about leadership was when my father passed away about 8 months ago. So we lost him due to COVID. It was unexpected. He was a healthy person. He was actively involved in his business. But his absence was really felt because his technical capability was very high. He was a very, very knowledgeable person. He knew what he was doing. He was in fact my backbone when it came to business.
Sorry,
And there was a lot of things.
His name is Ashok Makwana, right?
That's right, his name is Ashok.
Yeah, sorry for your loss, Sagar. But I'm sure wherever he is, he's seeing you and he's really proud now.
Thank you for that. So, Krishani, what happened then was that, when we lost him in December last year, suddenly there was this huge void, right? And I didn't know who to look up to. And for the first 2-3 months, I was lost. But I think it was that time that I realized that I have to step myself up as a leader if I really want to take things forward. There were at least 3 or 4 projects that he had started off and left uncompleted. And that was, I think, the biggest challenge, because I had to prove myself as a leader and get my team forward, push them, motivate them to finish those projects. And I think it was about 3 or 4 months ago when I finished those projects. I think as a leader, there was a big challenge because I was not involved in what he was doing. There were gaps, there were big, huge gaps. And to close them and ensure that my team comes along with it, I think that was a challenge, and I'm happy that I was able to get through it.
What are your opinions on startup planes?
Krishani, I think I've been looking at startup planes for quite a while now, and it's amazing, what you guys are doing. I think Shishir is doing a wonderful job. I think giving a platform to startups where they can connect with VCs and get the right, exposure, I feel is very important today, because there's a constantly evolving world, right? Things that were valid 6 years ago are not valid today. The pitch decks that you make 6 years ago are rubbish today, right? It's important that you mentor these startups. Otherwise, you have to understand the one thing about startups, and I love this about startups, is that they are very exciting people, but they usually don't have a way. And if you give that to them, if you mentor them in the right way and you connect them with the right people, there's nothing better than that. Hats off to all you guys.
So now we have come to the end of this interview. Thank you so much, Sagar. It was great talking to you. I'm sure that the information that you provided during the course of this interview will help the budding entrepreneurs and the founders to pave their way to their success. We hope to connect with you in the near future. Thank you so much. Take care.
Sure. Take care. Bye-bye.